4 years after the last film came out, I still get chills when I hear The Horn of Plenty. Welcome to The Bright Side, a place where we talk about our favorite things. I'm your host, Maddie, and today we're throwing back to one of my biggest high school obsessions, The Hunger Games. In case you somehow still haven't seen the movies or read the books, there will be full spoilers ahead. You have been warned. I first heard about The Hunger Games when it was offered as a reading choice in my 8th grade English class. I picked a different book, but everyone who did choose it loved it. A couple years later, the first movie was about to be released, and I decided to give them a try. So I borrowed a copy from my friend, and I could not put it down. I ended up finishing the entire trilogy in a week. After that, I saw every film in theaters, and even had a Hunger Games themed Sweet 16. The story of The Hunger Games really draws you in. Katniss Everdeen is a sympathetic protagonist, an average girl who is far from perfect but who always tries to do the right thing. Through her, we learn about the world of Fandom, a futuristic dystopia where 12 districts are forced to serve the capital, which also kills their children for televised entertainment. As an underdog from one of the smallest and poorest districts, Katniss is easy to root for as she fights to survive 2 Hunger Games, as well as a civil war. And while The Hunger Games is still a young adult series complete with a love triangle, any fan can tell you that it's about so much more than romance. It's about war, death, violence, power dynamics, class struggles, politics, rebellion, society, family, trauma, and so much more. And unlike other franchises, The Hunger Games is decidedly not escapist. It holds up a mirror to our world and makes you think. That being said, the romance is still a fun addition as long as you don't take it too seriously. I mean, even Gale and Peeta respect each other, and they're supposed to be love rivals. While I do prefer the books, I also thoroughly enjoyed the movies. Like in any adaptation, cuts had to be made, and even though I would have liked to see Haymitch's backstory and the origin of the Mockingjay explained, I understand why they had to leave these out. Nevertheless, they managed to stay true to the books and even added to the story by showing what was going on behind the scenes with the game makers and President Snow. The movies also improved as they went along, which is great if, like me, you didn't care for Mockingjay the first time you read the book. I did go back and reread it, but seeing it on the big screen is what really helps me appreciate the final installment. It was also pretty cool to see the world of the books brought to life. This was especially important when it came to the music. Music is an integral part of the books, and you actually get to hear the songs in the movies. Whether it's the score, the soundtrack, or the music of Panem, there's so much to listen to. And if you weren't impressed by the hanging tree sequence in Mockingjay Part 1, you're lying because that was insane. The Hunger Games fandom has always been an interesting place. This is at least partly because of how split fans often are. In my own experience, everyone loves the first book, but you either love Catching Fire and hate Mockingjay, or you love Mockingjay and hate Catching Fire. It's pretty rare to find someone who loves all 3. On top of that, we also had Team Gale and Team Peeta, not to mention all the other ships that didn't make it into mainstream media. But even though we didn't agree on everything, we were all still united by our love for the series. Debates about our differing opinions usually stayed pretty respectful, and I've always enjoyed talking to people about the series. The Hunger Games fandom was also chock full of memes. This was one of the first fandoms that had me scrolling through fan pages laughing at the memes and at some of the most ridiculous puns I had ever seen. Seriously, there were bread puns for days, not to mention some of the best ship names, my personal favorite being Toast. But whether it was online or in person, I loved interacting with the rest of the fan community. 4 years after its conclusion, The Hunger Games has been out of the public mind for a while now. But even though we don't have any new content right now, I still go back and rewatch the movies from time to time, reminisce about my Hunger Games themed birthday party, or remember the time my school had a food drive in honor of the franchise. As one of my main fandoms from high school, The Hunger Games will always have a special place in my heart. And on the bright side, Suzanne Collins' prequel, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, is set to come out next year. Thank you for watching, and subscribe to see more videos like this.
If you want more nerdy content, head to The Daily Fandom, which is at thedailyfandom.com, where we post everything for fans by fans.